Ladies and gentlemen, stay right here because what you are about to witness is not just politics, not just another speech, but a moment in history that people will talk about for years to come, and trust me, you will want to stay till the end because I promise you, the hook that ties all of this together will shock you in the best way possible. It all began on an evening when nobody expected fireworks, at an event that was supposed to be calm, structured, and uneventful. But suddenly the atmosphere turned electric as former President Barack Obama stepped onto the stage unannounced, leaving the crowd in stunned silence before erupting into thunderous applause. The venue was packed with citizens from all walks of life, students, families, workers, veterans, activists, and curious onlookers who had only come to hear a panel discussion about the future of American democracy. The last thing they expected was for the 44th President of the United States to arrive, uninvited, and take hold of the microphone with a calm yet commanding presence. And then, like a storm breaking loose from a darkened sky, Obama began to speak, not with the measured political tone people had grown accustomed to, but with the raw conviction of a man who had seen enough chaos, enough division, and enough lies to last a lifetime. He wasted no time calling out Donald Trump directly, holding nothing back, pointing to the dangers of misinformation, the reckless disregard for truth, and the way Trump had manipulated anger and fear to divide the American people. His words cut deep, every sentence landing like a hammer striking steel, not just criticizing but dismantling the very foundation of Trump's rhetoric. The crowd roared, not just in approval but in relief, as if a voice they had longed to hear finally returned to remind them of dignity, hope, and reason. Cameras were rolling, phones were lifted high, and within minutes, the speech was being live-streamed across the nation, millions tuning in, unable to believe what they were hearing. Obama's voice grew sharper, stronger, like a blade cutting through fog, exposing hypocrisy, lies, and the dangerous games that had been played with democracy itself. This is not a reality show, he thundered, this is real life, with real consequences, for real people. And when a leader puts ego before country, when lies are given more value than truth, when power is pursued at the expense of unity, we all suffer. The audience erupted, some standing on chairs, others with tears in their eyes, the weight of his words hitting them with undeniable force. Trump, watching from afar, responded instantly on social media, throwing insults, attacking, lashing out in desperation, but for once his words seemed hollow, drowned out by the undeniable wave of support and energy surging from Obama's surprise appearance. The night ended with chants of "Yes we can" echoing through the hall, a phrase that felt reborn, not as a campaign slogan, but as a battle cry for truth, for justice, and for the healing of a wounded nation. And yet what happened next in Chapter 2 would not just be a continuation of this speech but the moment that would change the course of this story forever. And so, my friends, here is where the story takes an even more emotional and powerful turn, because the morning after Obama's surprise speech, America woke up buzzing with energy, with television networks, podcasts, and headlines dominated by his words, dissecting every line, every moment, replaying the footage over and over again. But the true climax came not in the analysis but in what Obama did next. While most expected him to retreat back into private life after dropping his bombshell of truth, Obama shocked the world once again by announcing he would deliver another public address, this time outside the steps of a public university, where thousands of young people gathered, hungry for clarity, for guidance, for leadership. In a time when the future seemed uncertain, the atmosphere was electric as people filled the campus lawn, carrying signs not of division, but of hope, chanting not out of anger, but out of determination. And when Obama took the stage again, his words were not just aimed at Trump, but at every American watching. He spoke of unity, of resilience, of the power people have when they refuse to let hatred define them. Donald Trump may have shouted the loudest, Obama said, but the loudest voice in this country will always be the voice of its people when they stand together for what is right. The crowd erupted once more, the air thick with energy, and as Obama listed the values of honesty, compassion, and responsibility, He turned directly to the cameras, as if speaking to every single household in America, and that's when he delivered a line that people would never forget. History doesn't remember those who tear down, it remembers those who build up. You have a choice, we all have a choice, and today I'm asking you, not for me, not for any political party, but for the soul of this nation, to choose unity over division, truth over lies, help over fear. The crowd was in tears, hugging strangers, raising their voices together, chanting in unison, and at that very moment, the hook that began this story finally revealed itself. Obama was not alone. From the side of the stage, dozens of young leaders, activists, and even families who had suffered from the policies of Trump's administration joined him, standing shoulder to shoulder, a living image of the diverse, resilient, and unbreakable fabric of America. The visual was so powerful that even critics were left speechless, and in that instant, it wasn't about Obama versus Trump, Democrat versus Republican, left versus right. It was about people, united, refusing to bow to fear. The live stream exploded with millions of viewers worldwide, comments pouring in, hashtags trending, and for the first time in years, a wave of optimism surged across social media platforms. Trump's responses, laced with anger and insult, fell flat, overshadowed by the sheer power of unity. The moment was more than a speech, it was a movement, one that reminded everyone listening that leadership is not about power but about service, not about ego but about responsibility, not about winning the argument but about lifting others higher. And as the video of that night continued to spread, reaching even those who had grown cynical or hopeless, something shifted, a spark was lit, and millions found themselves asking, what can I do to be part of this change? And that, my friends, is why we tell this story, and not just to relive the clash of words, not just to celebrate one man's courage to speak truth to power, but to remind every single one of us that we have the ability to rise, to rebuild, and to reclaim the dignity of democracy. If this story inspired you, if you felt the energy of this moment, don't just keep it to yourself, and make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with others, because the more voices we raise together, the stronger we all become. And remember, this is not the end, this is just the beginning. And just when people thought the story had reached its peak, when they believed Obama's surprise speeches had already made history, the real twist, the defining moment, came in what followed, a chain reaction that no one could have predicted. And this, my friends, is where the hook comes full circle. So don't look away now, because what you're about to hear may just leave you breathless. Within days of his fiery public addresses, communities across America began organizing rallies, town halls, and marches, not out of anger but out of inspiration, carrying placards not of division but of unity, echoing the words that had reignited hope, truth over lies, help over fear. Videos of the speech went viral worldwide, translated into dozens of languages, with global leaders, activists, and ordinary people sharing clips on social media, praising the courage it took to stand up and speak with such clarity. But at the same time, Donald Trump doubled down, using every platform he could to strike back, accusing Obama of betrayal, calling the movement a hoax, spinning narratives to keep his supporters loyal. But this time, something was different. For the first time in years, the noise of anger was drowned out by the sound of unity, and the people, not politicians, began leading the conversation. Students formed groups to combat misinformation, churches and mosques held interfaith gatherings, veterans spoke out about protecting the democracy they had fought for, and small towns lit up with candlelight vigils, turning Obama's words into action. News anchors described it as a rebirth of civic engagement, and analysts compared the movement to the civil rights era, a groundswell too powerful to ignore. Obama himself, humbled by the response, spoke again, this time not on a stage but in a small, intimate video streamed from his own living room, sitting with Michelle by his side, reminding people that this was never about him, never about one speech, but about what each citizen could do to protect the values they cherished. His voice was calm, steady, filled with conviction as he said, "The future is not written by the loudest man in the room, it's written by the quiet actions of millions who choose to do what is right." That line spread like wildfire, printed on posters, painted on walls, used in classrooms, shouted at marches, until it became more than a phrase, it became a guiding light. And then, the hook that I promised you from the very beginning appeared in the most unexpected way, during a massive rally in Washington, D.C., where tens of thousands gathered. Obama was once again invited to speak, but this time he refused the spotlight. Instead, he introduced someone else, a young student from Florida, just 19 years old, who had lost her father to COVID-19 and had been inspired by Obama's words to fight for truth and accountability. As she stepped onto the stage, trembling but determined, Obama moved to the side, standing among the crowd as one of them, while the young woman spoke with fire in her voice, saying, "We are the future, and we will not let lies write our story." The audience erupted, tears flowed, chants rose, and in that single act, Obama had shifted the narrative from himself to the people, from leadership at the top to empowerment at the grassroots. That was the true destruction, not of a man, not of Trump personally, but of the machinery of fear, the politics of division, and the illusion that only one voice could shape the destiny of a nation. From that moment forward, the movement became unstoppable, spreading into classrooms, boardrooms, neighborhoods, and households, a reminder that democracy is not a spectator sport but a living, breathing force powered by ordinary people. And so, as we close this chapter, let me say this: if this story touched you, if you felt the spark of inspiration in your heart, don't just walk away. Take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this story with others, because the more people we bring into this movement of hope, the stronger it becomes. Remember, you are part of this story now, and the hook that began with a surprise speech ends with you, with all of us, standing together, proving that truth will always outshine lies, unity will always overcome division, and hope will always, always be stronger than fear.